Da. All right. Good morning. I'm here with Lori Wendell, advanced practice registered nurse with Optimize Your Health with Lori. She is a new, not a new practitioner, but has a new wellness practice in the tri-state area. And I'm so excited to ask her a few questions, pick her brain about health, maybe some women's health issues in particular. So, Lori, just share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Again, I'm Lori Wendell, a nurse practitioner. My history as a nurse, gosh, 40 years as a nurse, 41 years together, I guess, and a nurse practitioner for the past 16 years. My focus in my whole entire career mainly was cardiology, electrophysiology, and cardiology. And about 3 years ago, I got involved in functional medicine and just hit the ball, hit the ground running. It just was so exciting to me because I realized over time, even in my other practices, how people weren't being listened to, certain things wrong with them, and they just never got an answer to that. And I would think there's something deeper here, so when I started this functional medicine situation, I'm like, this is the most rewarding place I've ever been. I i absolutely am so passionate about it that I still work cardiology, but this is the number one thing for me, and it will always be. It will take precedence over everything because I'm seeing people get better, feeling better. It's just a change. It's a total change in the atmosphere for these people.
Okay. Oh gosh, I love that. So many questions I have for you. I could probably keep you on here for an hour, but I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm going to do my best. So, um, what was your personal motivation to open your new business, Optimize Your Health?
I guess it came from something I just touched on there. Um, just feeling like people aren't being heard. I think that, when you're in a regular practice, even when I was in family practice, you have such limited time with your patients. You're a 15-minute schedule. If they're a new person, maybe 25, 30 minutes, and you only touch the surface on these people.
Mm.
When they come back, you're having to say, well, I can only deal with this today. And your hands on the doorknob, you're trying to leave the room. It's just, you don't feel like you're fulfilling the patient's needs. You're not fulfilling what you need to do as a practitioner.
Mhm.
So having the ability to choose my time, how long I want to spend with the patient, how much work I want to do with that patient, and dig deeper than what I could have dug in a regular practice. You know, as you know, functional medicine is totally different. We look way deeper than what a person is on a thyroid, for example. I go like 8, 9 different tests, whereas an endocrinologist doesn't even look that deep. And because I need to see what that thyroid is actually doing from the brain to the cells, and I can't find that out with two numbers. And I just can't. It doesn't tell me anything because I myself was subclinically hypothyroid, and no one ever saw that. To look at my TSH, it looked like I was actually hyper.
Wow.
No, my T3, which is the active metabolite of the thyroid, was very low. So I was fatigued. I was tired. No one could feel, I just pushed through it because that's the person I am. But I was having symptoms and I didn't understand what was going on because everything looked normal in my labs.
So I think having a personal story can really drive us, right? That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really great. And the fact that you can, I know in coaching, I have to sometimes ask the same question, six different ways to get the true answer from someone so we can really uncover what they need in their health. So the fact that you're able to do that is really powerful. And and I know you have so much stronger effect on your patient's health.
It's, when you're in medicine and when you're training that way, you're told not to share your information. That is totally the opposite of what I do. Everything I've dealt with the patient so far, I am dealing with myself.
Yeah.
So sometimes I tell them I've had to push the restart button. For some reason, my cortisol level has finally come down. My stresses are still there, but my cortisol is normal. So what's that done? It's affected every other hormone I've got going on. Is I'm having to change dosing on my thyroid medication. My hormones are not right because that cortisol, has really played a big role in my situation for such a long time. So, you just can't, as I say to people, we can put this treatment in effect, but is it going to always be the perfect one for you? No, we have to tweak it. We constantly, if there's a change that comes up on you, oh my gosh, I'm feeling that way again, Lori, what's going on? Then we have to revisit. It's just not something that's going to be the perfect treatment every time. We have to always stay in our good place, but we have to constantly work on that.
Yeah. Your health is like the laundry. It is never done, right?
Perfect.
Yep. I have to remind myself that, and I remind my clients that all the time, sometimes every week, over and over. Uh,
Love it.
Okay. So what do you think is like the number one thing that holds people back in their health? Especially let's go for women here. Like, what's the thing that really blocks a woman from feeling her best?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's the fact that they're ignored. They, it makes me very emotional because it's like you go into the doctor and you complain, and it's such small complaints. I'm just so tired. Oh gosh, I have no energy when I get up in the morning, or um, I have no sex drive. And that's hard for a woman to say that. My libido is low. And then when you bring that up to that patient in my practice, it's like they're so relieved for you to talk about it with them. And they're openly talking because my husband doesn't understand. He thinks it's him. And this happens for those guys as well. They just don't know how to express it. But I think the women, they tell the gynecologist, they tell their PCP, I'm tired. I'm losing hair. My skin's dry. I'm itchy all over for some reason. I'm breaking out in hives for no apparent reason. All these generalized things that could just be anything. Oh, maybe they ate the wrong food, or they get the answer, you're just getting older. This is what it is.
Mhm.
No, it's not what it is. I'm 61 years old, and I will not let someone tell me that I'm getting older, because I want to maintain feeling like I'm 40 or below for the rest of my life. And I can't get that from a regular practice. It's not that they don't think about those things. It's just they're not trained that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I wasn't either. I had to open my eyes. As I tell people, I
Mhm.
walk like this for years. Now my eyes are wide open to the health of the patient and what's more important to focus on than just the mainstream things.
Right.
Think it is. It's just that they get tired of complaining. They stop complaining because they get ignored in a sense. And I don't think it's intentional. I really don't think that. I'm not downing any of my fellow practitioners. It's just a common complaint. And how do you deal with that unless you dig deeper?
Right. Right. We should not normalize just like skimming the surface and just brushing our problems to the side. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Gosh, what's your personal favorite case to solve or, patient complaint to like really tackle? And if you could only pick like one service to offer, what would it be?
And that's pretty tough. It's pretty tough because I have to mention here, even though I'll say that I think the thyroid is really crucial for me. And still learning about the thyroid, believe it or not, Hashimoto's, resetting your diet to reset your thyroid, things like that. I'm learning deeper in depth, than what I've even been doing so far. I love the thyroid. Hormones, especially because women are just ignored about that.
Mhm.
But I will mention here, it's hard for me to choose because, I've found cardiac problems because that's my background. I've had a gentleman come in who complained of just breaking out in the sweat, being so tired when he tried to work, owned his own business. I listened to him. He had a carotid bruit. I said, you got to get this checked out. Long story short, the man ended up with stents, eventually open heart surgery. Had he not come to my functional medicine practice because he was tired, this would have not been noticed because he would have never gone to the doctor.
Mhm.
And that's one patient that tells me, and I love him to death. He'll tell me when he sees me, I'm here because of you. And that means the world to me, not because I'm some superhero that took care of that, but because I listened to him. And even though he was a smoker for 30 years, it wasn't this, I knew immediately it wasn't his shortness of breath and stuff. It's not smoking related. So it just, where I'm well rounded in my practice,
Mhm.
I like everything, but I'll say, I think it's the people that are ignored because of generalized complaints, thyroid, hormones, that kind of thing.
Okay, I think that's awesome.
That
Yeah.
was broad. That wasn't what you asked
Okay.
me. Hard.
It's okay. I'm gonna make you think about that somewhere later. Oh my gosh. So how does it feel to you personally? I think you've already touched on this a little bit, but how does it feel to you to be able to serve people in this profession? Like, what does it mean to you?
It, like I said in the beginning when we first started talking, it's a priority to me.
Mhm.
Every day I walk in that office, it's like there's some days I come home and I don't want to talk to anyone because I've just been that sponge and I've taken everything on. And that's why I have to tell my mom and my husband, I just need space for the moment because I take it all on and I've always been that way. But being able to have that person look at me and say, thank you for listening because I've been complaining of this for 2, 3 years. You finally found something. that I can, that it's like a glimmer of hope when I find something that we can work on to fix. And, sometimes they'll call me in 7 days, 2 to 5, 7 days, depending on what we do. Oh my gosh. It's like I'm a totally different person, especially with thyroid situations. It's just having that person just, it's a lot. It's a trust for them to trust you enough to come to a different type of practice. And then you actually uncover the things that are bothering them. There's nothing more rewarding to me is to
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. So where's your practice going? I know you're kind of new on this adventure of your own. You've been in business and serving patients for years and years, but like, what's your dream for Optimize Your Health for the next few years?
I dream, yeah, my next few years, we continue to grow. My gosh, we just opened up the week of April 20th.
Mhm.
We have 200 patients on my roster. It's unbelievable the attention that has come to the practice. Some of those patients came to me from somewhere else, but just a few. A lot of them are new, brand new patients. So I want to look at most likely continue with hormone replacement therapy and thyroid. We do gut health as well. We want to continue with that, look more in like something like you're doing with health coach training. Actually, in the future, I'd like to be doing lectures. I'd like to be doing things that inform, are informational, educational for other nurse practitioners and providers that want to provide the service to their patients.
Mhm.
So it's just incrementally going to go up. Again, I'm still doing cardiology, and I love that. I'm passionate about that. But when it comes down to that, I've got to the priority is my practice here, to be honest, because I'm seeing such a, I don't know, a wellness wave coming through. Just like these people are feeling better. They're doing more. They're losing weight. They're being able to play with their children. They're being able to do things they haven't done for years. And, their relationship are getting better with their husbands or their spouses. So that's just extremely rewarding. So I'd like to see us get to where we're actually providing that education for other providers. That's where I'd
Yeah.
like to be.
Well, and you just nailed it when you said that really resonated with me when you said you want to know the outcome of the treatment. You want to be able to see like, okay, I worked with this patient on this, or we adjusted this medication or that. And now the thing that we're really after is not just like a balanced thyroid. Like we're after that playtime on the floor with the grandkids or, vacation with their park time with their babies, whatever. Healthier relationships. Like you're closing the loop to make sure that people are getting what they want out of life and not just getting like the right numbers on the on the measurements.
And that's, you mentioned the numbers. The numbers are always what's important.
Yeah.
They they're normal, but they're not normal. And normal range to me is a lot different normal than what you see every day. And it sounds like it's a little hokey to say it, but you and I both are looking at making our patients or our America, basically the people that are healthier. And we're on that same wave to try to do all we can to improve the health of everyone, especially West Virginia. We're very much on the Richter scale as being obese. We
Mhm.
at that and try to work closer with our own people.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Amen. I love to help our West Virginians for sure.
Absolutely.
That's my people. That's your people. I know. Oh my gosh, Lori, thank you so much for this.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, and I'll share your contact info, but I hope, gosh, I wish you and your business the best of luck. And I know you're gonna just serve like a gazillion people. I can feel it. So just keep up the great work and thank you.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You too.